Hey guys, this is Zachariah Bourne. Welcome back to another video. Today we're going to talk about when are we the toxic ones. Many times we like to call other people we've been with toxic, or relationships that we've been in previous toxic, but we never seem to say it about ourselves, right? It's something that we never admit to in ourselves, that we've been this way. And a lot of times we use it to sort of throw stones at people in our life, right? We use these labels to try to take down and peg people in our life that have hurt us. So I want us to leave that behind a little bit, and I want us to realize too that sometimes things that we don't realize can be toxic are that way. And toxic is a strong word. It's not a term I like to use a lot because it doesn't fully explain the whole picture. So let's talk about this. When are we the toxic ones? This is my beautiful drawing here. As you can see, I probably should have been an artist. So anyway, this is, I'm calling this like a scale of your emotions. So if you can imagine 0 being the worst feeling of all time, just absolute terrible feeling, and 10 being the best feeling of absolute all time, the best, most joyful, euphoric feeling you could ever feel. Right, that's what we have. So we have a scale of 0 to 10. And with any analogy, it could be a little, it's not perfect, but it gives you a general sense of things. And it allows us to quantify a little bit more what our relationships are like. So in general, people just want to feel good. Most of the time people think that relationships are complicated, but really they're not. If you make someone's life better, they're going to stick around with you, right? If you make them happier, if things are better with you in their life, they're going to stick with you. Now, there's a lot of tricky things in there, and different definitions people have of what make their life better or not. But in general, that's the case. So if you are hanging out with someone and if they are here to 7, they're hanging out here to 7, and you come up and you're at a 5 down here, and you sort of dominate the conversation and dominate the feeling that's going on between you two, it's going to kind of pull the other person down, right? So a lot of times when people vent, and you ever have that feeling when someone kind of sucks the life force out of you as you continue talking to them? That's probably a stronger differential. Maybe they're down here and you're up there, right? So if someone is here and we bring them down a little bit, right? That's a subtle level of toxicity. So it's not full on toxic, but you've taken away a little bit, right? And we all do it at some point or another. We're all going to be that person, because sometimes we're just not going to feel as good. Maybe we're stressed from work or whatever. But if we continually pull the other person down a little bit from circumstances or venting or like just sharing or just being insecure, that's the thing too, right? So imagine but the opposite is also true. We don't want to be around someone that takes us down all the time either, right? We want to be around people that bring us up. So that's super important. But that's the thing too, a lot of people don't realize that insecurity can be toxic to a relationship, because when you feel insecure, right, you're down here. If you feel vulnerable, right, you're feeling that vulnerability, you're scared of what that person might do, you're going to be down here. And if you're in that state a lot, right, and maybe anger is down here, right? So a lot of times when we think of toxic relationships, we think of anger, right? Or we think of someone belittling someone else. It never feels good. When you belittle someone else, you have to be down here. Nobody up here ever belittles another person. You just don't, right? And someone up here doesn't make someone else feel insecure. You feel more confident around happy people. You feel more confident around people who feel really good. They bring you up. They want to share and give you good stuff. So say you're down here So anger's here, right? Insecurities maybe around here. The thing is, insecurity can wear away through a relationship just as much as bursts of anger can, because you can be insecure for much longer periods of time, mostly, than people are angry, right? And I'm not saying you should hang out with someone angry. I don't think you should be with anybody who's constantly bringing you down here, and you don't want to be that person either. You don't want to be that person. And so if you're in a state of insecurity, if you're not feeling good, if you're stressed or whatever, right, we can also be toxic, and we need to understand that about ourselves. If you'll notice, especially if you're dating a guy, they're not very good or articulate at stating what they're feeling or what needs to change, right? A lot of times they just can't figure out, and they just end up going away because maybe they keep being pulled down by someone's, insecurity or their jealousy or whatever, right? Jealousy's down there. If someone's like that a lot, they may not be able to express or talk about how that works. But in general, what we want to do, if we're down here, we don't want to hang out with those people that we care about. We don't want to be that person bringing them down, right? We want to be someone who adds to the life, adds to the people we love, right? Someone who brings them up. So the more we can be in the higher states and be fulfilled on our own, be fully, have our cup sort of overflow, right? Be so happy that it's overflowing onto the other people. Sometimes it's a challenge to be that level of happiness, right? But it's something that's absolutely possible that we actually can do, and it can't be faked. It cannot be faked, because your energy never lies. The emotions, they don't lie. You can feel it when someone's in a really good mood. You can feel it, right? People can smell it on you. So you might as well just say where you are, right? And be honest about where you are, because faking it doesn't help anyone. So you want to be someone who's constantly adding to their life. And some days you're just not going to be as high. It's just going to happen. You're just not going to be as high as you want to be. And so what you want to do is you want to, on good days, you want to add even more to the positive. That way you have a little cushion. That way you have some cushion. So when you do have a bad day, it's okay. So that's why it's so important that any emotion that's down here, if you're not feeling good, you really want to work on yourself. And you want to, in order to be the best partner you can be, because everyone just wants to feel good, you got to start feeling good. You got to start being happy, right? Whether they're there or not, it can't be, happiness can't be based on what your partner is doing, right? Because you can't control them anyway. You cannot control them anyway. There's nothing you can do to control your partner. You can try, but you're not really controlling them. And when you try to control them, it doesn't feel good. It puts you down here, right? And you start taking away from the relationship. It starts kind of wearing away at it. And so what we want to do, we want to make more positive deposits. We want to make more positive deposits. We're hanging out with that person that we really care about. Try to be in your best mood. Try to spend an hour or two before you see them feeling as good as you can. So that when you do meet up with them, say you're here, and say maybe they're like here, you can pull them up. Isn't that a beautiful arrow? You can pull them up. That's what you want to be doing. You want to be pulling the other person up. And then some days they're going to pull you up, right? And let the person who feels better do the pulling. Let the person who feels the best out of the two at that moment do the pulling, right? So if you are down here, don't push. Don't try to take over the conversation. Let them try to gently guide you up into those good, better feeling emotions. And sometimes if they're in a really good mood and you're in a crap feeling mood, it's going to feel like salt in the wound. It may feel like salt in the wound. It may not be fun, but that feeling, and when it stings like that, it may really make you want to be up here. And you may not be able to get there overnight, but you can get there. And so now we know when we're toxic, right? If we're constantly pulling someone down, especially if we're pulling them down a lot, and it can be based on things that are not what we typically think of as toxic. Anything that's down here, right? So instead, we need to pull people up. And this is one of the biggest balances in relationships. You just gotta be more adding more than taking away. Gotta be adding more than you're taking away. And that's it. Simple calculation. Simple calculation. And there's a lot of aspects to this, right? Because so many things can be viewed as taking something away. Like if you add a lot of responsibility to someone, you could be taking a lot away. Or if they feel like they have to take on more, if they feel like they have to change to make sure your emotions are good and positive, that can be a lot of responsibility. That can be a lot of pulling down. So instead, we want to make it easy for us to date, and we want our partner to be easy as well. So we want to make it as easy as possible. We want to make it easy for them to talk to us. We want it to make it easy to where we're open to whatever they have to say, and they can be honest and have a safe haven to be open with us. And we want to be able to appreciate. Whenever we're appreciating the other person, we are pulling them up. So appreciate as much as you can, condemn little as you can, and also you just feel way better appreciating as opposed to condemning. I hope you guys really enjoyed this. Hit subscribe if you like this video. Check me out on Instagram, and I hope you have a wonderful day. Take care.